Today, we'll be discussing JavaScript modules. JavaScript modules help us write maintainable and reusable code. They do that by dividing the code into smaller, independent pieces. A module is just a file that contains a block of code. We can define variables, functions, or classes in a module, and we can also import or export these items to use them in other modules. So in JavaScript, each file is treated as a separate module. To create a module, all you need to do is write some code in a .js file. In our case, we are running our code using Node, so I have the extension m.js, meaning module.js. I also created a package.json file and included the type module. Okay, now let's see an example. Let's create a file named math.js or m.js, and in the file, let's add the following code. Function add of a and b, which returns a plus b. Let's also create another function, function subtract ab, return a minus b. Okay, so in this file, we define two functions, add and subtract. This file acts as a module because it contains a block of code that performs a specific task. In this case, two functions that perform math operations. If you want to use this function in another file, we need to export them first. So right now, if I were to use it in my index file, so index.mjs, and do add of a and b, and then run the program, I will receive an error because add is not defined. So I need to export them. Let's go to math.mjs and export them using the export keyword. So export function, export function. Now to use these functions in the index module, we need to import them. So let's go to the index module and do import, curly braces, add from, and you will see some options. In our case, index.mjs or math.mjs. Save that, and now let's run our program, node index.mjs. And you will see that we still have an error because we didn't define a and b. So let's do that first. But you will see that we don't have the same error. So let's define let a equals 2, let b equals 5, and also do a console.log of a and b, and run the program, and you will see 7. But if we also want to print, in this case, subtract of a and b, and run the program, you will see that we still have an error because subtract is not defined. So we not only have to export the function, but also import it wherever we want to use it. So import add and subtract from our current directory math.mjs file. Okay, if we run the program again, you'll see 2 minus 5 is minus 3. Good. Now, there is also a concept of default exports in JavaScript. This is especially helpful when a module has a main function or a class that is exported. So for example, let's create a new file called calculator.mjs, and let's have a function multiply of a and b. Return a times b. Now we could just do export function, and then in the index file do import calculator or import multiply from calculator.mjs. You can see the autocomplete, and then just do console log multiply of a and b. Run the program, and you will see 2 times 5 is 10. But maybe this file is more complicated and we have multiple functions. If there is a single function that we want to export, we can do export default function in the calculator.mjs file, and in the index.mjs, you will see that if we run the program using node.mjs, we will receive an error. The requested module does not provide an export named multiply. We need to change our import. So import multiply without the curly braces, because this is the only function that we export from the calculator file. And then you will see that it works as expected. So remember, modules help us organize our code better, making it more maintainable and reusable. Now it's okay if these concepts don't sink in at once. Just keep practicing and you'll get there.